Hello, and welcome to Up Close on METV. I'm Charles Clapsaddle, station manager for Manatee Educational Television. And it's our great pleasure to have with us today three ladies who are going to talk about significant events that are coming up in the very near future. We are so pleased to have with us Tammy Lennox from the American Cancer Organization, Bethany Lynch, and Susan Harrigan. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us. As you know, METV has been involved with the American Cancer Society and the Making Strides for many years. And to have three of you here today to talk about the events that are coming up is really significant. Tammy, thank you so much for putting this together.
Oh, Charles, thanks for being such a great community partner and having us here today. It's really a pleasure.
Well, as we get into September and October, events for the American Cancer Society certainly heat up. And you've got some big events coming up that you'd like the community to know about.
We do. Our next big event is Making Strides Against Breast Cancer coming up in October, but we have many events leading up to that. Right. And mainly just creating that awareness in the community for folks to remember, have you gotten your screening?
Right. And that's the key thing. You know, not only the screening, self-exam, these are all things that the American Cancer Society strives to get out there as information. Now, Bethany, you've been involved with the American Cancer Society for a short time, but you really bring a lot of enthusiasm and excitement to this. What are some of these events that are coming up that you'd like to talk about today?
Well, the first one is happening next week. It's August 31st. It's our kickoff event, and it's at the Ritz-Carlton. So we bring survivors and past sponsors and participants and team leaders to come and get involved in the excitement and the enthusiasm of the event.
Well, I must tell you, having had the opportunity to do the kickoff on a couple of different occasions, it really is. It's like a big cheerleading event because you really enthuse people to get involved with Making Strides, the walk, and the teams that are there and the significant people that relay their information is really important.
It is really important, and also bringing the survivors in is really nice because then that's our why. Why are we doing this? It's to help people have, another birthday, less cancer. Yes.
Well, if I must, and that brings us to Susan. And Susan, last year you were the keynote speaker at the event. And I must say, in the years of covering this, it was probably one of the most inspirational talks that in a long time. Relating your specific area was very important.
Well, I was very new at it. Cancer, I was diagnosed with it in March of last year, and the kickoff was in August.
Wow.
So I'd had 2 surgeries at that time. I even had a surgery the week before, I was at the walk. I had drains in while I gave the speech. But I really enjoyed seeing all the survivors and all the people that were cheering me on, is what I felt like, cheering the cancer patients on. I thought it was a great thing.
Well, it was, and it was a tremendous turnout. It's always a tremendous turnout for this. Yeah. But I have to say, Susan, to share your story of courage was an inspiration to everybody that was there. And it was such a success, and you were so inspirational, that they've asked you to come back to do an encore performance. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. They wanted to know where I was a year later. Yes. Because a lot of things change when you have cancer. Like you go through 100 miles an hour and you get rid of the cancer. And then you're left with, what just happened? What have I been through? And your mind starts going. It's incredible what your mind and your body does. And you're still battered, you're bruised, you're scarred. That's all reminders. But we have hope, we're cured, and we just keep moving on. And then we want more people to be cured.
Right. And I think that's what Tammy and her colleagues at the American Cancer Society do, is to create that sense of awareness and importance that they're there for not only the survivors, but for those people who need to have checkups, who need to know about the education process that you promote so well.
Yes, definitely. You know, Susan was lucky to know about the American Cancer Society, but there's still so many people that do not know that we're there to help them. And not just the person faced with a cancer diagnosis, but any family member, anybody that's been touched by cancer. And I think these days it's hard to find a person that can raise their hand and say, I have not been touched in any way.
And I think that's a really important point, whether it's a mother or a sister or a friend or a working colleague that you have. In some way, breast cancer touches so many people. And I think the work that the American Cancer Society does to promote awareness within the community, but also to all the many partners that you have, all the medical partners that you have, the different vendors that that are available for information, is so important.
Exactly, and we do have a 1-800 number that's available 24/7. So at any time, somebody, if they wake up at 3 in the morning and they have a question or a concern, they can call us. And there's folks at the other end of that number that can answer their questions.
We're going to put that number up throughout the program so people can do that. And it's not just those people who are experiencing and going through breast cancer, but it's also for the caregivers as well, so they can find some of the resources and services that are available.
Exactly. The caregiver is an important piece of this journey.
It is.
And a lot of times after they leave an appointment, they're so overwhelmed with the information that they need to ask questions. And a lot of times the cancer survivor is so overwhelmed that they don't even know what questions to ask.
And I think that's an important, fact to know, as you're going through cancer, you're so involved with the medical processes and the procedures and things that you have to do. Sometimes, that's all you need or can concentrate on. But, that caregiver, a family member who's out there, they need information as well. And that's really one of the key things that the American Cancer Society is so good at.
Yeah, one of the most important ways that we help is access to care. That's extremely important because there are people out there that may be diagnosed and don't have a huge family support system around them. Then they're not feeling well, they can't drive themselves back and forth to treatment. We have programs like Road to Recovery, which we depend on the volunteers to come and drive these folks to their treatments each day. Making that important treatment appointment is a necessity.
And I think that's a really valuable resource, because breast cancer affects people of all ages. It's young and old, and so if you're there and you're all by yourself, and if you don't have anybody you can rely upon, the American Cancer Society is going to be there to help you, you get through that.
Definitely.
Well, I think one of the key things that the American Cancer Society does, and Tammy, you've been doing this for years now, is to create this great sense of awareness, this community buy-in and support that's really prevalent throughout Manatee and Sarasota counties. And I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about some of these other things besides your big kickoff at the Ritz, where Susan's going to be featured. But you have some other things that the community should know about and get involved with to show their support for the American Cancer Society. And one of those is coming up in September, and it's called Real Men Wear Pink Reveal Party. Now Bethany, that sounds kind of
a little risque, but it's not, I promise.
So what is that? And I think you started this last year, a few years ago, but why is that such a great event?
Well, what we've decided to do around the country is to get men involved in spreading awareness and getting the word out about breast cancer. So our community, we have 25 real men that have committed to be part of this campaign for us. So these men agree to share the information. wear pink every day the month of October to make that question come up. Why are you wearing pink?
Right.
To raise awareness. And they have also agreed to help fundraise for all of us. So
and I think
it's
that's
great.
a really great thing, because sometimes, women feel that, they're isolated in doing this, and, men, husbands, fathers, brothers, they should get involved, because as you mentioned, everyone is touched in some way by breast cancer. And getting men to become involved is so important, because, it's such a, a great community effort.
Well, and it empowers the men to be able to do something as well.
Yeah, it does.
So
it does, and
it's
I
a little
think it shows their support as well. So that's a really great event that I think people should know about and get involved with. And there's some great people. And last year you had some real men at the kickoff thing, and they were all in pink. Quite a sight to see.
We could certainly tell you who our winner was last year.
Who would that be, Tammy?
So that was Bob Harrigan, who really
quite
got
committed
involved.
to the cause.
Yes.
So that was great.
Well, we've heard Bob speak on several occasions. He spoke at the kickoff thing, and he was very eloquent, as so were you, Susan. But he was very eloquent and committed and dedicated to doing this. And he was also out at the walk. He's been at the walk for many years to support it.
Right.
But he was there, and you can see the dedication that he has for this. And he looks good in pink, too.
He does.
Yes, he does.
He looks good in anything. So, but these are the type of events that kind of catch the community's interest. And by doing that, you have another platform where to explain the great things that the American Cancer Society continues to do. And I think that's kind of the purpose of a lot of these events, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We want as many people to get involved, create a team. It doesn't cost anything, but what we hope to do is bring out as many people as possible to create that awareness piece.
Yes.
And a reminder to them, have you gotten your screenings?
Right. Well, and I think too, that there's so many women that kind of don't think about getting a screening, or they're putting it off, or they think, well, I'll do it next year, I'm fine. But along with that screening, comes the self-exam, which is very important. But also, all of the medical professions that are available to you. You can have people contact you, and they can put you in, put them in direct contact with a physician that will be able to do an exam.
Exactly, and our biggest focus is to just convey to people, have those conversations with your doctor.
Right.
Your doctor will know best your family history and determine when it's best for you to begin your screenings.
Well, I think, also one of the things is that as you create that awareness is to educate people, young people especially, young women in college, that they need to know as well. So, as you continue your steadfast awareness program, you're educating people at all levels.
Yes, definitely. Not only in the community, but we work really closely with all of our health systems, our cancer-accredited health systems that work with navigators.
Right.
And those nurse navigators are really a key in those hospitals. So we provide them with the information so they can be right there on the battlefield conveying it to those folks that really need it.
And I think that's really a critical part of, the diagnosis and the recovery. Now, how did you find with your Susan, how important was for you to have that great medical care as you went through your breast cancer?
Well, it was wonderful, and I did get the notebook and everything. I have my own, but I filled up the American Cancer Society notebook right away. The navigator gave me that. And it was nice to have a navigator, because I did have questions. Like after you go home, you hear it, your husband's crying, your daughter's crying, I'm handing them tissues, going, I knew this, so I'd already, in my head, knew that I had this. So she was great. She basically comforted them, but she was there for me too. She was really there for me, but she could see that they needed it, and it was wonderful. And in my speech this year, after you survive, and the doctor says, I don't want to see you for 6 months, you're like, what? I've been here every day, every Friday for a year, and you don't want to see me for 6 months? I mean, because you put all your trust, all your faith, everything in that doctor.
Exactly.
He's got to help you, and now you're on your own, and it gets very interesting.
And I think that's really important, because you build that kind of bond with your healthcare professionals, whether it's a nurse navigator or your physician. Right. And they're dedicated professionals wanting you to recover and live a great life.
Right, right.
But one of the things I wanted you to share with us, Susan, if you could, you know,
Right.
you have your notebook here, and I asked you to kind of bring that with
Right.
you, because that's kind of a notebook that you kept during your
During the whole
Process.
last year. Yes, it has everything in here. It has, you know, doctor information, names, what medicines I'm on, all the radiology reports, everything you can think of, all the bills. There's a lot of bills.
And I think that's important to keep that, because that's a kind of that journal of your journey.
Right. And it's thick. I've already filled up one, and so this is another one. We're still going, but it you know, I can go back and look and say, oh, well, here's what he said. You know, it's all in there. All the doctor's notes, everything is
And I
right
think-
here. And the
I think-
scripts, so you can, what are you on? Here, I'm on this.
And I think that's a great thing for people who are going through that struggle now, to say, to be able to share that with them and say, listen, I kept this, and this helped me keep,
Right,
you
and
know,
I
a
have,
path.
and it's amazing how many people, since I've had breast cancer, now either have it, or, you know, someone in their family had it, and then they're like, oh yeah, I get that. Oh, I've seen that before, or something. And I do have a dear friend that just was diagnosed, and so she's starting her notebook now.
That's a
And she's
wonderful
on her
thing to
journey.
share.
Yes.
But one of the other things you shared with us is something that you carry with you.
I do.
And you do. And if you could share that with us, I think that's really a...
Well, and I said last year at the walk, this is my friend Janice. And Janice died of breast cancer. And she fought very hard. And so Janice goes with me to doctor's appointments. Janice is my strength. So I'm going to try to make somebody not go through what Janice went through.
Yeah.
I don't want to go through, but Janice makes me keep plugging along and being strong and being involved, like with the American Cancer Society.
And I think that's really a wonderful remembrance of your friend, is to be able to take her to all these things. So you know, she provides that strength to you, and
Right.
you're carrying on in her name.
Right.
It's a wonderful way to continue that. If it wasn't enough for all the, you know, the people that are committed and dedicated, and all the resources that you have, that would be great. But you're continuing to do additional things to create more of a sense of awareness, more of a sense of community commitment. And another event that you have coming up, and Bethany, if you could take a few minutes to talk about this, is this thing that's coming up with UTC, the University Town Center, which, from my understanding of it, is really significant. So tell us a little bit about that, and how, why that's so important.
Well, we have been so blessed and thankful to have the University Town Center Mall and Benderson Development and Nathan Benderson Park as big sponsors for us. They are our premier sponsor this year, so we are very thankful for that. They are hosting and they're lighting the mall pink on October 1st. They're kicking off.
How cool is that?
They're kicking it off for us, which is really, really nice. And all the stores in the mall are supporting this event and raising awareness for
How
breast
cool
cancer.
is that?
It's really cool.
I think that's really nice, and you know, you couldn't ask for a better partner. It's a local thing, and people are so familiar with it now. To have that all lit up in pink as a kickoff, and that they're going to do that throughout the month.
Throughout the month.
How
which
cool is that?
It's going to be really neat to see it. I'm excited.
And I'm glad you mentioned Nathan Benderson, because for people who have been involved with Making Strides Walk for many years, they've always had it at the Polo Grounds, which is a beautiful facility off University. I mean, thousands of people show up. It is truly, and believe me, we know because we do a lot of events. It is a
nice,
signature event
Definitely.
for our community, and I'm talking Sarasota and Manatee. It's a signature event. Thousands of people show up. It's, you know, you're in the 13, 14, 15,000 people over the years have shown up for this. They come with teams. They're old, they're young. Survivors are there. You have a survivors luncheon. You have vendors that are there. You have music. There's dancing. It's a beautiful, you know, environment. And then they do the walk, and everybody's happy and they're enthused. But this year, you're adding another layer to it because you're changing the venue, and it's going to be where now?
Yeah,
Tammy.
unfortunately, we started growing out of the Polo Grounds.
I think you have.
People were lined up, and this year we're very lucky with Benderson Development being the premier sponsor and venue sponsor that we've taken it to Nathan Benderson Park. This is going to
beautiful place.
It's going to enable us to bring this event to the next level. We're expecting about 20,000 people
my
this year.
goodness.
So,
Oh, my goodness.
On top of the walk, you mentioned the brunch. And this year, UTC Mall has offered to host the brunch inside of the mall.
How nice is
Yes,
that?
so-
I mean, for the survivors,
Yeah.
how nice is that? And it's another gesture of, the community coming together to help that. And if I must say so, by the time the Making Stride walks come around, is that the World Rowing Championships will already have been over. People will know the facility, to see how beautiful it is out there, and how convenient it is to get to. So it's a plus type of thing, is that you have this wonderful facility, this kind of aftermath of the World Rowing thing, so people come out there. But one of the great things about the walk that I've noticed over the years is the amount of people that come of all ages to come. You have teams from high schools, you have teams from businesses, you have teams from just neighborhoods, just friends put together a team and they walk in it. I mean, it's very inspiring to see these people, young kids that are walking with their parents, seniors who are walking with a walker, come and do it.
And the outfits.
Yes, the
Those
outfits
are
are
really neat. I love the tutus and the pink hair and the whole, that makes it so much fun.
And I think it's an amazing activity to do that. It's a sense of real commitment, that people are dedicated to what you said, Tammy, about creating that sense of awareness. But it's also a joyous occasion too. You see a lot of people that are happy. They're happy when they get through the finish line.
Yeah,
right. But I think you create this really sense of joy that's out there.
Yeah, I think people are there to celebrate also. Celebrate those people in their life that, like Susan, have just gone through this journey. And, once you're cured, the journey doesn't end, which a lot of people forget.
Right.
People like Susan that will have this journey the rest of their life and, be following up their survivorship care plan.
Right.
So it goes on, and they're there to celebrate each and every day, whether they were diagnosed yesterday or 50 years ago. It's cause for celebration.
And one of the other key things, and I think Susan, you've noticed this at the walk, is that people are out there walking in the name of somebody who's passed away.
Right. Yes.
And there's teams of people who hold up their pictures of their loved one or their family member, and they're walking on behalf of that person, which I think is a remarkable thing.
Exactly.
And they're having fun doing it. It's really a wonderful, wonderful occasion. And I think I would encourage people throughout the community to participate in this, simply because you're doing it for a great cause. You're showing your support for your sisters and your mothers and your family members throughout your life. So it's a wonderful occasion.
Yes, I think that's an important thing, people remembering those that they've lost and being inspired to inspire others to keep going in light of that. We've come so much further with the research and the development of new cures. So I think that's an important piece. Last year, our top team in Sarasota Manatee raised over $27,000.
Wow.
They were number 1 in Sarasota Manatee,
gotta
but
make
number
it happen.
15th in the state of Florida.
I think that's pretty great.
It was amazing, and right at the conclusion of the walk last year, shortly after, they lost one of their teammates to a breast cancer diagnosis. So this year they've set their goals even higher because they want to make even a stronger impact.
And I think that's a run thing. I mean, there's teams that have come back year after year after year, and they keep setting the bar a little higher. But one of the things that also that's present at the walk is that you have such a turnout from the medical community. You were talking about nurse navigators, Manatee Memorial is there, physicians, oncologists, they're all out there to show their support, for people, survivors, and for, people that need to have breast cancer exams.
Yes, definitely. We have all of our large hospitals involved. Manatee Memorial is our platinum sponsor this year. So they are involved in every piece of this.
Yeah.
The Real Men Wear Pink, the team component, and it's just a great system to have involved. We're also lucky to have Sarasota Memorial involved. They're our survivor sponsor this year. So they will be very present at the survivor brunch and welcoming all of our survivors this year as well. So.
Well, I must say, because we're kind of winding down and we have only a few minutes left, and I just first of all, I want to tell you what the American Cancer Society does and the efforts that you do. I mean, it's such a great task. You are doing something that brings great benefits to a wide range of people, and I think the more that people are aware of the services, the resource, the assets that the American Cancer Society can provide, continues to reach out to people, and that's very important. And I would encourage everyone, whether it's they just want to come out for a walk by themselves, they want to join a team, or they want to participate in one of these great activities, the kickoff. There's still time for people to get involved in the kickoff or the Real Men Pink reveal party, or going to UTC just to show their support for that. There's so many things that this community can do to show their support for the American Cancer Society and the great work that you continue to do. So Bethany, I'm going to go to you for kind of final remarks on that.
Okay.
If people want to get involved, how do you encourage people to get involved in some capacity?
Well, we have the walk on October the 28th, and you can visit the website, which I'm sure you're going to put on the screen for us.
We're going to put it up in a moment.
makingstrideswalk.org/Sarasota-Manatee, and you can just register right there. It costs nothing to register. Start a team, join a team. Get your friends, like you said, your friends, your family, your coworkers, anybody that would want to come out and be part of this. I'm trying to imagine what nearly 20,000 people dressed in pink will look like going around the park. It's just going to be a sight.
You haven't seen one.
I have participated in a walk before, but not going around the lake.
It's amazing. Awesome. It's an amazing thing, and I think it's going to be a wonderful thing. Last year we had some drone footage of the event. We're going to do it this year to get something. It's really an amazing thing. And congratulations for all your efforts, on behalf of the American Cancer Society and what you do and the energy that you bring to the American Cancer Society. It's really a blessing for this community.
Thank you.
And Susan, again, we want to thank you not only for sharing your story, but for being that kind of beacon that people can look to say, listen, I made this, you can too.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, and if you could share with us, I think a lot of people, when you get that initial diagnosis, you don't know how to cope.
No, you're in a fog and everything, but I do want to say 20,000 people walking, for me, it's an amazing feeling. It's wonderful. They don't know me, they don't know anything about, but when you look at it, and I looked at it, it was like bittersweet. It was just so surreal that all these people want someone like me to survive. They want to make a difference.
And I think that's very eloquent what you said there, and I think that's truly a thing. Whether it's your mother, your sister, a friend, or a colleague, there's somebody out there that's had breast cancer that this community needs to support. And we'll look forward to seeing you at the kickoff for your keynote address, and also at that Real Men Wear Pink reveal party. So is that Bob Harrigan going to be in that as well?
I think he is, yes.
Tell him he looks good in pink. Okay,
I will.
Right. So Tammy, final word on this. This is a great organization, and the people that you have involved, the organizations that you've managed to get involved, so this can get bigger and better and reach more people is fantastic, and you're really to be congratulated for that. But final comment, what would you like people to know, not only about the importance of what the American Cancer Society does, but the importance of these upcoming events and how they can get involved?
I would just encourage anyone, if you've never been involved especially, or you've been involved for a number of years, please come out to our kickoff event. Learn what it is that we do if you don't understand it, and give us a call. You know our 800 number, it's at the bottom of the screen. If you have any questions where it relates to cancer, cancer diagnosis and treatment, we're there for you, so please reach out.
Well, Tammy, Bethany, Susan, first of all, I want to thank you for taking time out to do this. This is really important to get this information out, and you're to be congratulated for the work that you do, the continuation, the level of effort, the professionalism, and the dedication that you bring to help get this information out to everyone. Thank you again for sharing.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us on the special edition of Up Close on METV. If you want to find out more information about the American Cancer Society or one of the many events that's going on that you can show your support, please get in touch with them. They need your support. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Up Close on METV.